but I'm going to give a quick intro to the map that I started in 22 and have now converted over to 25. I've been working very hard on some Houdini tools, which I think I've done a couple of previous episodes about, really, on the YouTube channel, so you can check those out. But it's getting close to being kind of finished now. I've managed to get a lot of the little niggles ironed out, and now it's got to the point where it's generating a road network with markings which is almost entirely procedural. Now, it's not perfect. It's certainly not going to stand up to close scrutiny if you want to get the road rules out. But for the purposes of an impression of the UK road system and markings, I think it is getting there. So there's a couple of things I've done, and the first is, as you can see, main road with a dotted line in the middle, solid lines either side, and you can see there's a nice hedge boundary either side. Now, that is all procedurally generated in Houdini, so at the minute there are no gaps for things like entranceways like this, which is obviously a slight problem, but this is all stuff that you can then iron out in your GE. You know, once it's in GE, you've got the opportunity of tweaking it, and let me tell you, setting mile upon mile upon mile of hedgerows manually versus exporting some data from QGIS, mixing it with data that's generated in Houdini for the roads itself, and then just creating roads is far, far easier. So let's buy ourselves a vehicle. Crash that's loud, and go for a bit of a drive. So this is the main dealership on the map, and it's one of the only areas I've actually kind of filled in. This is what it looks like. I've run out of fields, unfortunately. I'm waiting for Giants to pull the fingers out and increase the field limit from 255 to something sensible like, well, no limit, and that way we can fill in all the fields, and some of these larger fields are actually multiple fields that have been merged together. This map is going to be quite heavily grass, with a lot of different livestock farms on it. So that's the theory. So at the minute the hedges don't have any collision. That's entirely intentional so that I can drive through them, as you've just seen. Otherwise this would be a very quick video, but you can see even now the hedges I've cut down the hedges that I used before that were 8 meters long, and now these are 4 meter long, and there's several different variations, which allows for a slightly more random look without having to hand place each and every single hedge with a separate tilt and twist. So there's one of the road junctions, correctly marked. Here's another one. Let's head off down this way. So this road's slightly wider again. This is the main road on the map. And we're going to go down this, which is still a main road, but it's a bit narrower. My driving's a little bit erratic. I'm coming this way because this is where the bridges are. So we've got a series of bridges here. Oh no, I've cocked that up. There are bridges all made by Houdini. This is a terrain decal. That's a solid object that you can drive across. They're pretty much indistinguishable from each other. I mean, obviously, if you want to, you can see where they start and where they end, but you can see that there are markings going across them, and so on. So, you know, it's as close as you can get without each individual junction being hand built. And when you've got 40 odd junctions, that's a sizable amount of work to avoid doing. But again, all of this hedge work has been done procedurally. The trees on the hedgerow have been done procedurally. The grass, the foliage, all procedural through Houdini. This is a bit of a mess up here where this junction is, because it thinks it needs to put hedges in, but obviously it doesn't. But they can all be cleared up quite quickly and easily once you get it into GE. This is one of the nicest. If I come over here for a second, one of the nicest views on the map. Nice long vista into the distance, some fields and what have you. Blocks of trees. There's very few buildings on the map at the minute. That's going to be a significant challenge. There aren't really any suitable buildings available, so they're all going to have to be made from scratch, and you know that takes a sizable time to do. So like Fenedge, this is going to be a 4-kilometre map. It's 4 times the size of a default Giants map, and obviously that's the lumberyard. That's about the only sell point I've put in so far. But like Fenedge, it's going to hopefully have some unique features in it in terms of gameplay, which I'll come on to later in a subsequent video when I've got that far. There's a barn, not quite in place yet, but as you can see, it's shaped up well, and for what is essentially that's one of the tighter tracks there going up into a farmyard. So you can see the narrow lanes will cause some issues with the bigger kit. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do. So I'll just do a bit of a drive and show you what's what. So now we're up at the top left corner up here, and this is the area I'm going to fill in first as a playable area, really. This is going to be the if we can call it the beta test area of the map, with a couple of farms. So 254 there and 244. That is Fountains Farm, because this here is Fountains Abbey, which in Yorkshire is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, I think. And this is a thing called Studley Royal, which is a water gardens and pleasure gardens, and you can pay a lot of money to go walk around it. But this is the area I'm going to concentrate on to begin with, to flesh out the map, make sure that it works, and so on. So I've started putting in some stone walls, which are not too bad, but they're not brilliant, and I'm still looking for a solution for that. And now coming down the road, you can see I've put some buildings in at the farm. Nothing's finished. The buildings here are just really footprints for things. Some of them are mine, some of them are other people's off maps and so on. It won't be released with other people's buildings in. It's just really for getting the layout right and some ideas. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. A quick tour around some of the roads to show off what the tool can do, and also it's quite steep down here, and also the progress I'm making on a new map, rather than just converting FenEdge to 25. We have actually been playing on a conversion of FenEdge, but it still requires a few things which aren't mine to be converted or changed, redone. So there's a rogue crossing there that needs deleting, marking. So yeah, bullet bills, prefab packs haven't been converted for 25. So I've made a gate prefab from scratch to replace the one he'd done. Not replace, because it's not as good, and it's not as comprehensive, but it's got a variety of different gates in it. But the power poles and the other things are, they're much more difficult to do, so they're still on the list before FenEdge can be released as a convert. But I'd rather put the time into making things for the new map rather than converting the old. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what the new map's looking like, shaping up, and also the power of Houdini, which I think you can all agree is pretty impressive. Right,